I first found Freddy in my 4th grade classroom as part of the book collection, which was, I guess, taken from the school library. There was just the one book, and I'm pretty sure it was Florida, and I read it. I read it 5, 6, 7 times before my teacher said, you know, Connie, if you go to the library, you can find more of these books. And so that's what I did, and I loved the books, and I was born and raised in Washington, D.C., and used to go to the public libraries by bus during the summer and spend the day in the library reading. And apparently I was such a Freddy addict that the librarian at the Capitol Hill Library noticed and actually came over to tell me when Brooks had died in 1958. Apparently this was in the school library journal, and I remember her coming over very hushed. Of course, in the 1950s, libraries were naturally very quiet anyway. There won't be any more Freddy books. And, you know, I was too young to really appreciate it all, but it has stayed in my memory all those years. And sometime in my 20s, I decided, well, I'd like to collect these books. And that's how I sort of wound up with the Friends of Freddy, because in those days, before the internet, of course, you just simply had to go to used bookstores or use book search services. And so I had done a bit of this in the 70s, but found it, let's just say I wasn't going to collect the books very fast that way. So somewhere along the line, I got the idea, okay, Brooks may have died, but I'm wondering about his widow. I'm wondering if his widow might still be alive. So I found out she was, and I had a sort of a bare bones address. And so I wrote her a nice little letter saying that if she happened to have some extra copies of the books just taking up space in her house that she wanted to sell, I'd be happy to buy a whole set. And, you know, of course, I got a response saying, well, no, sorry, but, you know, good luck. And then some years after that, our distinguished founder, Dave Carley, had been in touch with Mrs. Brooks in order to launch the Friends of Freddy. And she provided him the names and addresses of people who had written to her over the years, which included me. Everyone else, apparently, who had written fan letters about how wonderful the books were, I was the only person who said, by the way, do you think you'd want to sell some to me? So that's my little reminiscence there. Dave, as I said, is our founder, and I was one of the original members that he was able to contact, along with a few other people who, let me see, have we got anybody else here? Michael's not here right now, but Kevin was like within the first year, and a few other people also came along.
I was a member before the newsletter came out, I think.
Yeah. So, at any rate, that was my little reminiscence. Thank you, and now we're going to go back to